Everybody, we're back again, finally. Uh, so we're going to talk about a couple things tonight. I think we're going to kick it off with the Nintendo Music subscription thing that we predicted, or we
Yep.
we spoke into existence.
Yes. Which is why it's perfect to start off with this, because this happened.
Right,
So.
yeah. So, I know last time we talked about how Nintendo was going after like YouTube creators and people that were producing sheet music based on Nintendo properties and just like YouTube channels that hosted just their music from their games. And we said, well, Nintendo, why don't you create something that we would pay for to get your music? And they did. It's a streaming service. It's a Spotify killer. I have not bought it yet because I used to have a Nintendo Online subscription, and I got rid of it because I didn't really, because like they had cloud storage, but it was only for certain games. And it didn't work from like one console to another console. So if you upgraded, like if you got the OLED Switch, you couldn't move your cloud saves anyway. It was pointless.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so I got rid of it, but I might get it back now just to be able to stream music on my phone. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we know what all is going to be on there music wise? I assume the stuff that Nintendo owns proper, but like.
Yeah,
are like Rare soundtracks a part of it?
They've said that the original Donkey Kong trilogy, Donkey Kong Country trilogy music will be on there. So
okay,
I don't know what that means for like Banjo-Kazooie and like GoldenEye and stuff like that. But yeah. I mean Donkey Kong's a little more in house, even though it was a Rare game. But
yeah.
I mean. Mario, of course, will be there, and I'm sure every Zelda track will be on there.
And probably Pokemon stuff too.
Pokemon, then, yeah. So I'd say all that in-house stuff. What I'd really hope they get is like all the Capcom music from the NES era. That was peak chiptune music. That was very good.
It'd be nice if they worked with the third party to get their soundtracks all on there.
Yeah, it really.
It's why I asked about Rare, because Rare is technically a third party.
Right. Yeah. So
and they're owned by Microsoft.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really thought that with the Banjo-Kazooie being in Smash Brothers that there might be like, I know that they had a newer game that got released on one of the Xboxes that didn't do well.
Yeah.
But can you imagine like that? Mascot platformers are just a Nintendo thing. Like, imagine how well that would do on the Switch if they brought a Banjo-Kazooie over there.
Yeah, I know it's on the Virtual Console. The Nintendo 64 Virtual Console. Nintendo has, which surprised a lot of people, at the one Direct a couple of months ago, they had announced like there's a bunch of Rare titles coming to the Virtual Consoles on the Switch.
Yeah.
Accounts.
Right. I know a few years ago that Xbox wanted Game Pass on the Switch, and Nintendo had said no. But and I was just scrolling on my phone a while ago, and I don't know, I didn't look into it, but I think it might be on its way now, because it was like an ad, but it had a Switch on it, and it said, yes, this is an Xbox. So I think that might be a Game Pass ad. And
yeah,
I mean, I've said this for a long time. Microsoft's doing everything they can to make the actual Xbox obsolete, because everything is an Xbox. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that'd be great. A partnership between them would be great, not just because of Rare being able to be back on Nintendo consoles, but I think they lend themselves better to Nintendo's model more so.
Yeah.
Than the
Xbox.
Definitely.
Definitely. Those Rare games are more Nintendo style than a Xbox style game.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know what Nintendo's up to, because like the Switch 2 just got announced, and announced, but
but it's known.
It's known. It's a known thing now. Yeah.
Because every Direct gives us the same thing of just like at the bottom it's just like there will be no announcing of the Nintendo Switch successor.
Yeah. But they have said now that it's going to be backwards compatible with the Switch. So, which is good. I'm all for backwards compatibility, but my thing with it is if it's just going to be a more powerful Switch,
right?
Like, what are we going to do with it? I mean, that's not really Nintendo's style, right?
Right.
You want something big and bombastic and different from them every time. Last time they did just a more powerful version of what they had was, well, first the GameCube didn't do well, and then the last time it was the Wii U, and nobody even knows what the Wii U is. Like,
right.
Yeah. I still got mine, and I use the tablet of it as a TV remote, because that was the most innovative thing they did with the Wii U, was you could program the tablet to be a remote.
Yeah. I wish that they would put some of the Wii U games up to download for us.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that one Zelda game was really, really good on there. The one that the graphics are more cartoony.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot the name of that game now, but I remember loving it.
Skyward Sword.
Yes.
Yeah, Skyward Sword. And it's available on the Switch now. There's a remaster for the Switch.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. And it's pretty good. So the Wii U version used the Wiimote for motion tracking.
Yeah.
And this one uses the Joy-Con, and it just doesn't feel exactly the same. So like, I think the Joy-Con is better at motion tracking than the Wiimote was, but the game was made for the Wiimote jankiness.
Right.
So it's just a little different. Yeah. Yeah, but I have it on the Switch. Yeah.
Okay.
That game was really cool. I really liked how they let you have the sword like in your hand.
Yeah.
You know, that's all we when I first heard about the Wii, that's one of the first things I thought. And then I always wanted a good Star Wars game where you could have a lightsaber, but there wasn't one. What was it? Was it Force Unleashed? Was that the?
I think so. Yeah.
So it used the Wiimote, but it was just like the waggle, like it wasn't 1-to-1 with the so that was a bummer. So that game's available. I do wish there was a way to download Wii U games to play, though. That would be nice, but that's just like we said before with the music. They've created a service for that. That's all we were asking for, is a service to be able to download their back catalog, and they'd make a killing. Yeah,
they would. They have years of music that they could put on that thing to keep it going.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So.
And years and years, and then across every third-party developer, I mean, it would never. You'd never run out of stuff.
Yeah, like I said, it'd be great if they worked with third-party developers and got that music on there too.
Yep, I agree.
Which I think it might get a little bit tricky with some of the like games named after actual IPs.
Yeah.
So if it's just like, oh, here's Konami's Tiny Toon Adventure soundtracks, that's gonna.
Yeah, that might be an issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
But just imagine you're logging on to their streaming service, and then you just see like Ghostbusters, and it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. So underneath of our YouTube videos that we've done, I've put like 8-bit music, like game music under it. You brought up the third party and the license stuff. So every time I've tried to use the Moon theme from the DuckTales video game, it gets a copyright strike on it, or a claim, or whatever it's called. Yeah, but most of the time you can use video game music underneath, but that is the one, like the DuckTales Moon theme, YouTube will get you.
I think it's because Disney used that actually fairly recently. They used it in the new DuckTales. Yeah. Every time they went to the moon, they played that song. So it's actually in Disney's archive now.
Yep. So that'd be, I want to see that you bring up a good point there. Like, You wouldn't get any of the Disney music probably, even though
Yeah.
so the question would be like, does that belong to Capcom or does that belong to Disney? And I
Right.
wonder, like, I know like with old movies and stuff, rights issues get lost. Like people are like, I have a clue who actually owns this IP.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine it's the same with like video game music, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So they have a long ways to go to make it like perfect and a lot of
Yeah.
hurdles to climb, but
Right.
still like the potential's there. On
Yeah.
the music side of things, Neil Young has a similar service to this.
Really, of his own?
Yeah, of his own, called the Neil Young Archives.
Wow.
And it's literally every album Neil has ever made.
Wow.
You can
Huh.
listen to on this thing, and he puts out physical releases of things as well. But he also has it on this digital platform to listen to as well, because he's a Rat Pack type of guy. So he just has all of this shit that he just never threw out. So it's like through this thing, like he discovered like in 2021, he recorded an album in the 70s that he completely abandoned to go and make the album Harvest instead. And he forgot he made it.
Wow.
Until his archive team was like, hey, there's like 15 some songs that none of us are familiar with. And Neil's just like, oh yeah, I did make an album between this time and never.
That's
so he released
crazy.
it. Yeah,
Wow.
he finally released it in physical copies, but then his archive had it too. And he does a lot of like you can listen to bootlegs that he's gotten from fans and like remastered
And he puts
on the
them on
service
there.
as well. And he puts them all on there. Yeah, the Neil Young
Wow.
Archives. It's
That's
insane.
awesome.
Yeah, it's like 60 years of his music because he has stuff from the other bands he was in.
That's what I was just
on
getting
there
ready to
too,
ask.
so-
What about like the Crosby, Stills, and
Yeah.
Nash stuff?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, we actually technically got the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young album from the mid 70s that they never released
Wow.
on one of his archive releases.
Huh.
Because they were working on a record called Human Highway, and a lot of infighting happened because that's the story of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, a lot of infighting, and then Neil flakes out. So this one archive release had basically all the songs that they worked on with all of it there. So bands finally have Human Highway, but not in a physical release, but it's in that archive collection.
That's awesome.
Of what that album was going to be. Yeah.
Wow.
So like there's something for Nintendo to look at and go, oh yeah, this is a good system here. Like, because Neil Young is using it with success.
So with that in mind, where it's like something that was archived that hadn't been released before, Nintendo did that with the Super Nintendo Mini when they released Star Fox 2 for the first time ever. Can you imagine the music that they have that never made it to the game? Because they have composers that compose music for these video games. They can't be all of it has been used or heard. That's amazing. Like if they would put some of that on there.
Yeah, it'd be cool if not going to happen in a million years, I don't think, because the estate is not the best to work with in terms of money-wise of using it. But I'm curious because Nintendo and Sega work so close together.
Yeah.
Get some Sega stuff on there and get the original versions of the Sonic 3 Michael
Jackson's music.
The Michael Jackson Sonic 3s. I would love to hear those. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yep. Yeah, the alleged Michael Jackson Sonic 3.
Yeah.
I would love to hear that too. Yep. Yeah. So moving on a little bit, I know we mentioned bootleg things here and there.
Yep.
So you wanted to talk a little bit about the clone consoles and stuff?
Yeah. The main purpose of the podcast. But we had to touch on the Nintendo music thing since that's a follow-up to our last one. So it's cool Nintendo's doing it. A long way to go to be perfect, but there is a good model. But on bootlegs, and all that. Look, when the market is ridiculous in terms of a bunch of games, like, I see nothing wrong with the reproduction carts of games.
I agree.
Like,
Especially on old games they're not making any money off of at all.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I got the Conker's Bad Fur Day reproduction cart.
It's a repro?
It's a repro, yeah, because that game's like $90.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, not doing that.
Yeah. The only problem that I have as a retro collector and buyer with repro is when they don't tell you it's a reproduction cart and they try to pass it on as, like, if somebody tried to pass that Conker off as a real Conker, that's bad. That's shady.
Yeah.
But I don't have any problem with it at all, and I think the modding community, if it weren't for the ability to program a cart, put that flash onto that cart, you wouldn't have the modding stuff that you have now. Like, the new Ghostbusters 2 game that they put Winston into for the Sega, that's all, all because of the bootlegger stuff. And I have no issues with it.
No, I don't either. It's nice to have the games and not pay an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah.
Because they're one of those. Like, why is the I think it was Flintstones on Sega Genesis is like $100.
Oh, yeah. So
why?
Yeah. The Flintstones Surprise at Dinosaur Peak for the NES is one of the most expensive video games ever. Yeah. And exactly why. It's because of collectors, because they want the real thing. But if you or I just want to play Flintstones, get a reproduction, emulate it. Who are you hurting? Because that company isn't making money off that game anymore.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Like, I have a reproduction cart of the good Super Nintendo Back to the Future game with the American subtitles. Yeah. So it's in English.
It's been So you have the Super Famicom that's been turned into English. Yeah. That's great. So
it's like, the thing is, like, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, just for example, with over the last month, there's a Piglet game for the GameCube and the PS2 that has shot up astronomically in price because a couple YouTubers noticed that game is like Resident Evil. Like, it uses the game engine of Resident Evil for a Piglet game. Yeah. And so everybody in the retro community went nuts making videos. Oh, this is a horror game. It's scary, but it's Winnie the Pooh, blah, 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 blah. People went crazy, and now you can't find that game for less than $200. Yeah.
Absolutely.
The absolute nonsense. Yeah. So if you heard this, or someone else that said that a Piglet game runs on the Resident Evil engine and that piqued your interest, go emulate that with Dolphin so that you can play it. Don't give these people hundreds of dollars for Piglet on the GameCube. Don't do it. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, my thing I was going to say is, it's like, my Conker game and my Back to the Future 2 game, like, they were up front, like, this is a repro. Like, I think on the sticker on Conkers it even says it's a repro.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, it's just like, when you're up front about it, then we're cool.
I agree.
Like, you know what you're buying. The thing that I remember back in the day, probably like 10 years ago, remember when GameStop started selling old video games?
The first time they tried to do it?
Yeah. And they were getting a lot of repro cards and selling it as a legitimate item.
Yeah, because they didn't train their people to know. Yeah.
Or when Chrono Trigger, somebody just slapped the Chrono Trigger sticker on a Madden game.
I remember seeing that.
That same Madden game kept getting passed around because they didn't bother to they didn't bother to be like, oh, there's a complaint, it's not the actual game. They just put it back in their archive, and somebody else would order Chrono Trigger. Yeah. And Next thing you know, here comes a red Chrono Trigger cartridge.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's Madden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. But yeah, they kept getting a lot of repro, because I remember somebody bought DuckTales 2 from GameStop.
Yeah.
Paid the price at the time, which I think was like $70.
Yeah.
And they get it, and on the cartridge is the sticker, and the sticker on the cartridge says reproduction cart.
Oh, wow.
Like right there on the sticker.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, DuckTales 2 is another expensive one. That's crazy.
Yeah. And GameStop was selling it as a legitimate.
Well, it's like GameStop doesn't know any better, right? They're a Walmart of, they're It's the little mom and pop game store that would try to pass it off would be the problem, right? I mean, if you're buying your retro games at GameStop,
yeah. Just kind of figure it out.
Right, yeah. They're selling retro again now. And I was watching this video the other day that was talking about it, and they only have a certain list of games that is allowed to be put in their system. They'll take other stuff that if you bring it in, they'll take it, but it gets tossed in the dumpster.
Okay.
Yeah, insane. Yeah, so who knows what's getting thrown out? Because
all the Nintendo World Championships,
right? Yeah,
like the legitimate ones, because they're not in the system.
Just not in their system, so they're in the dumpster.
Part of me would love how evil that would be.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, yeah. So there's I think it's Action 52.
Okay.
So it's one of the more rare games, Yeah. And some guy, I think that's the game it was. But anyway, some guy found like a whole ton of them in this warehouse and just flooded the market. And all these people were so pissed. I thought it was hilarious, personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah. So I have to touch up on the, as long as you're not saying it's the legitimate item.
Sure.
We're fine. This one teeters, though. This one's on that very thin line between sites like eBay, AliExpress, DHgate.
Yeah.
You see a lot of postings for music instruments.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of postings in the description will just say, like, guitar. Or, like, LP style guitar. Okay. And all the pictures are,
LP style.
All the pictures, look like it's the real deal thing.
Right.
But they never show the headstock of them, so you never see, like, the branding on it, in the photos. It's like they're not selling it to you saying it's a legitimate item, because the descriptions are all just like basic, like music instrument, right. Or it'll be like Misfit guitar, or like metal design guitar, and it's like the Misfit style stuff.
Yeah.
And then all the Les Pauls that are on there, and it's like LP style guitar, like those kind of things. Where it teeters the line is, I purchased a thing that says Kiss Bass.
Okay.
Right? And it's just like, okay. And first of all, should also state this. If you know what you're doing and you're searching like on eBay for like a Gibson Les Paul or a Gene Simmons bass.
Sure.
And you see a bunch of things, it's just like, oh, like $2,000, $3,000, $8,000, right. And then you see a bunch of listings with no pictures of the headstock going $175.
Yeah.
Figure out you'll be able to figure out you're buying not the legitimate item here. And it's just like once again, they're not promoting it as legitimate.
Right.
Like they're not saying it's the thing. So I purchased Kiss Bass.
Okay. Kiss Bass.
Punisher, which is the name of the Gene bass that I bought. So it just says Kiss Bass Punisher. Photos didn't have the headstock or anything to show the branding on it and everything like that. coming from China. The thing arrives. It's a nice base. Like, it's legitimately the Gene Simmons Punisher base. It looks really, really good, right?
Yeah.
So then we get to here, and, it's the actual freaking branding of the actual company that made the actual base with the Gene Simmons signature thing in the middle of the stock. But they screwed it up because the signature says Gene Simmons Axe, which is a different base altogether. But still, like, it's branded by Court, which is the actual company that made this. And this is the thing with these instruments that pop up on eBay. So, like on the back of it, does it say like where it's actually who actually made it? There is nothing on the back of this one. But there is a whole market, so to speak, of people that know what they're getting with this kind of thing, and they're basically using it as like a parts guitar. Where it's just like they'll spend the $170 to get the thing because it's a good solid instrument. Like, it's good work, but then they'll get it in, they'll just upgrade it. And so it's like they'll have a guitar that the actual Gibson is like $8,000. Sure. They'll get this knockoff from China for like $174, and when the guitar arrives, it has the Gibson branding and everything on the headstock. So it straight up says Gibson with a fake serial number on the back of those. No way. And some of them will even say made in the USA on it. Wow. So it has the full branding and everything of Gibson on it, but it's not real. And that's where it kind of teeters, but it's like they're not promoting it as a legitimate item, but the fact you get it and it says it's a Gibson Les Paul, and it actually has the branding on it. Wow. And fake serial numbers on the back too. But people, $174 gets you that, and then they'll just upgrade the parts inside of it and spend like $250, $300 to get it all done at like a guitar shop, and they have like an actual really good guitar with good stuff in it for like $500. Wow. So but like that very much teeters when it has the actual branding on the thing. I guess, but if you sell that to like a pawn shop, you could get into some serious trouble. I bet you would. Yeah. I don't know, this the one here in town that's pretty close to me, that guy knows his stuff when it comes to music. He'd probably just laugh at you if you took something like that in. Yeah. That's wild. But it has the actual branding on the headstock and everything, and the Gibsons are more the people call them Chipsons online. There's a whole community of Chipsons, and it has the actual branding on the headstock. It straight up says Gibson. It's the actual logo. Wow. The full everything on there. I just wonder how they get away with it, like advertising it. You know what I mean? Like, right. It literally is just like LP guitar. Wow. Like, let me try to find an eBay listing while we're talking so I can read you the wacky descriptions. I just bought another knockoff, actually. Oh, yeah? Yeah, before the tariffs come in. Oh, my gosh. That's gonna fix the price of eggs and gas, don't you know? Yeah, sure thing. Okay, I'm just gonna do it on my phone because my computer's being a pain. Okay. Hey, so while Jay looks that up, we actually have a sponsor now. So I'm gonna run their ad. This podcast is brought to you by Gregory's Cereal. Breakfast time. The perfect time for Gregory's. The perfect mix to help keep you regular throughout the day. I'm Orson Welles, Gregory's, keeping it regular since 1915. This one's a bit more out there with it. They didn't do LP, but they have a but it's a replica of like a black Gibson Les Paul, like how Neil Young plays, and it just says Les Paul custom electric guitar, fast shipping, and it just says it's basically just like our pictures are taken in our factories, but they may not match the final product given. But we guarantee you will get what you see. You will be treated professionally. We are a professional guitar manufacturer. Like, not much of a description outside of that.
Yeah.
And, like, all the pictures are just like that.
Just like some stock photo.
Yeah, and the headstock is always cut off so you don't see the branding.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's going to arrive, and it's going to have the Gibson branding on the thing.
Wow. That's insane.
Yep.
I don't know.
This one just says LP Black Electric Guitar. It's a different one. Once again, no picture of the headstock.
Yeah.
Just that. This one's $146. It just says LP Black Electric Guitar. Mahogany body, which I can guarantee you it's not. It's going to be cheap. Actual wood. And yeah, nothing showing. They cut off any pictures that would show the headstock. It's cut off, so you don't see the branding.
Wow. So...
And yeah, that thing's going to show up, and it's going to have the Gibson branding on it.
Wow. So, before the advent of the internet, because, I mean, bootlegs have been around forever, how did people get their pretend Gibson guitars? Like, how did that work?
I got mine from a store in Benton, but it didn't say Gibson on it. It had a thing. It said Austin on it. So that's where I got mine.
Yeah, I think my banjo is Austin.
Hey, look. It's Slash's guitar.
Hey! Wow.
It even says LP electric guitar Slash on it.
Wow.
But it doesn't have branding. Doesn't say Gibson.
Right. But it will.
It says LP electric guitar Anaconda Burst Slash. And yeah, when the thing arrives, it has the branding on it.
Shoo, buddy. Yep. So let's put it this way. Okay, so you know what you're getting. The people that order from that website know what they're getting, right?
Yeah, they should know what they're getting, yeah.
Right. So how would a lay person in the aftermarket, like, how would they tell that that's not the real thing?
There's always going to be like a serial number on the back of it.
Yeah.
In which some of these don't have them and some of them do, and they're fake numbers. They're not the Gibson numbers.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think like people that know
right
would figure out right away.
Yeah.
Like by looking at it, like, oh yeah, this is off and this is off and this is off.
Yeah. So
so this is a Slash, the one in red somebody got on this site, and yeah, the headstock has the Gibson logo on it. The Slash logo as well is on there, and yeah, on the back of the guitar is an actual serial number and made in the USA on it too. But this isn't a Gibson serial number at all. Yeah, these people are tricky, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You just gotta know,
right?
Yeah. Figure, like, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're scrolling and you're like, you're going, oh, $8,000, $10,000.
Yeah.
Oh, 174. Plenty of stock.
Exactly.
Maybe if you're Homer Simpson,
Yeah.
if they added another crayon,
mm-hmm.
maybe then you'll be like, maybe then you'll be like, oh man, what a deal! This factory's got a bunch of them for this much, and thinking he's struck gold.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And wouldn't know the difference. But honestly, like everybody that's buying these knows what they're getting and knows that like either A, you're buying it just to have it on display. Like, because some people do that where it's just like, oh, it's a cool display piece and people think I own a Gibson. And then other people are like, you know, buying it for the skeleton of it, and then they'll upgrade everything and have a really great guitar at a huge fraction of what it normally is. But that very much teeters on that line of like, oh no.
And it teeters on that line because the real thing is still being made, right? I mean, that's why it teeters on the line. That's it's a lot more gray than the video game emulation.
If it didn't have the actual like branding and logos on the guitar, probably better. But
how does it sound?
Like, the people are saying like out of the box it sounds really good. But like you can tell it will need work. It doesn't sound as good as actual guitars do. It's passable out of the
froze up
box.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're saying it's passable out of the box.
Yeah, good. Well, I don't know. I mean, more power to you is all I can say. I mean, especially if, you know, if it's the hobby is turning it into a nice guitar. I mean, I don't really see an issue with it. The issue is when you try to pass it off on the second market is the real thing. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've seen some people sell those on Facebook Marketplace after they've upgraded them, but they say in the description it's a Chipson, not a Gibson. And some people go the extra step when they get the guitars in the mail. They will print out a new decal for the front. So it says Chipson instead of Gibson now. So
That's great.
Yeah. So man. I ordered a Stratocaster type of guitar.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling when it arrives, it will say Fender on there. It'll have the full markings. But
wow.
Yeah, it'll be a project guitar.
Right. Yep.
So
no. You said Austin a while ago. I'm pretty sure my banjo is in Austin because it was some cheap thing I got off of Amazon. But
yeah, they're not a bad company. I put slash pickups in my Austin Les Paul, and it sounds really, really good. Like I've never had issues with that guitar at all.
Yeah.
So, and I've had it since 2006.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's still with me. It's my main baby.
Yeah, it's a 17-year-old guitar.
Yep.
18, I guess.
Yeah. Bought it at a place in Benton.
Wow.
Because like these reproduction cards aren't as bad as that.
Right.
It's like you know what you're getting, and the sticker will always say repro.
Right. Well, and then again, like, so when we're talking about the video game community, it's such an insular thing, you know. So like, they'll be like, "Oh man, it's so expensive. This game's so expensive. And it's like $200." When it comes to like a guitar, we could be talking thousands of dollars at times.
Right.
Know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, instead of dropping like $100 some, you're dropping 20. That's how much my Conquerors was, like $20.
Right. Yeah.
So instead of like $90 some, I think was the last time I saw it in a store. Conquer was like 90.
Yep. Yep.
$20. It says it's a reproduction cart, but it's like it runs on the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So you're good, man.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with it.
No.
There's so I guess this is kind of the same as the guitar thing. So, but this is like kind of a bigger known company. I Am 8-Bit. Have you heard of them? Yeah. So they do like, they'll do like a collector's edition of, I think it was like Mega Man 2 they had. And it was an NES cartridge. It was a re-release. Sold for, I don't know, they were selling it for like $100 because it comes with some other stuff. And that was not a Capcom thing, but they were selling it, you know. So that's kind of the same as what you're talking about, but I don't know exactly how they are skirting that legality line, you know. Yeah. So like the guitar thing is it's a Chinese fly by night whatever kind of sounds like, but this is kind of a bigger company. I think Limited Run did it with something too, you know, and it's like,
right.
How are you, like, somebody somewhere is going to pass that off as Mega Man 2. Like, that's going to happen. Right. I don't know. And then those ones came with a warning in the box, said something about it being a reproduction cartridge that will play on original hardware but isn't intended for original hardware. So whatever that means. Yeah.
I kind of like, you know, because I think there's like a Jay and Silent Bob game that runs on like a Nintendo, like an old school NES. Like, it's cool when like they make
a new game parts made for old stuff. Yeah, yeah, that happens a lot. There's I have an engine that I bought, NES Maker. I actually backed them on Kickstarter, and so I have an NES engine now that I could use to make a game. So
nice.
Yeah, and I even got the. Well, let me show you. Hold on, I'll go grab something.
Okay.
So this is a cart programmer. So you can make your game, and then it's just USB into your computer. You put you get a blank cartridge, NES cartridge. You put your EEPROMs in it, and then you can actually program your game that you made to a cartridge and play it in real hardware.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. So, I haven't messed with it a lot because it's going to take a little more than just point and click. After I got into it and looking at it, it's like, oh, this is going to take some time. I got to learn some stuff. But I'm gonna mess with it eventually. Yeah,
that'd be cool, man.
Yep.
Maybe Gregory's will come out with a video game.
Yeah, maybe. Brought to you by Gregory's. You know, the only, I think, like, food license games I've ever played were Cool Spot and the Chester Cheetah game, and those are both really good games.
Yeah, I had a McDonald's game on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Treasure Land Adventure, which clearly was not made as a McDonald's game. They teamed up with McDonald's.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's another one I've got that I do have is it's actually pretty good. Is the Noid game? From Domino's, and you could tell from the items and like the enemy characters in it that it was supposed to be some kind of like ninja game.
Yeah.
But like they just put the Noid in it.
Yeah. I think there's a similar type of situation with the 96 Olympics mascot.
Oh yeah.
Got its own video game. Izzy 96 Olympic Games.
Yeah.
You can tell it's clearly supposed to be a different game.
Yeah.
But then they teamed up with the Olympics and was just like, all right, cool. Like, because now they can put the Olympics on their branding.
Yep. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I don't know what else you got.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. Man. Okay, I think we covered it pretty good.
Yep.
I I just, we can keep talking, but I don't want to drag the recording on for too long if we don't have anything constructive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what do you? I think next time let's try to do the Bakshi thing. Let's try to watch.
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's pick a movie and we'll watch it before.
All right.
For next time.
Yeah. Let's start with Fritz the Cat.
Okay.
That's a good place to start.
That's a good place to start. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's do that. So next time, some Fritz the Cat talk probably.
Yep.
We had a couple good discussions tonight, everybody. It was fun. I'm glad we did it. We'll try to do it more often. And I'll have all my links and stuff below. You can find me on YouTube, Hey Dad Let's Play, Twitch, Dad's Playing Games, new YouTube channel, the Reverend Jones Pete. And Jay, let's hear what you got cooking up and where to find you.
I'm on YouTube, JShrab Music, jshrob.com is my website. Facebook, JShrab Music. Instagram is JBandit. And yeah, I just put out a concept album called Venefax. And yeah, I got a couple of albums in the works right now. So 2025 will be a music feast from me.
You can also find Jay on Spotify and Apple Music.
Mm-hmm. All right. And YouTube Music as well.
All right.
And Amazon too. So
I always forget about those last two, YouTube and Amazon. Yeah. My sister uses Amazon Music and tried to get me to switch over, but I just can't give up Spotify. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'll have all those links in the description below as well. And good night, and thank you for watching, and thank you to Gregory's. See ya.
Everybody.